One of our favorite sponsors is back with us, Sunset Lake CBD.
Yeah.
If you're looking for CBD that actually does what CBD is supposed to do, look no further than our friends over at Sunset Lake.
Let me break it down.
Break it down, Mel.
They're sustainably farmed, meaning they avoid pesticides and use sustainable farming practices to preserve the land for future generations. 1. 2, farm to table. They ship the CBD products straight from their door in Vermont directly to your door wherever you're at.
Oh, that's cool.
And third party tested. They test everything with a third party to ensure quality, dosage, and safety.
You got to go over and check out sunsetlakecbd.com. They have so many products. Break it down for them, Apple.
Well, they've got some new stuff going on. Like they always had pre-rolls, but now they got really cool packaging for it. And you can get CBD pre-roll flights of all their flavors. You can get the heavy hitter flight that also throws in some of their Keef blunts. They have a new CBD recovery body lotion.
I'm excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the other?
The other one with arnica.
The extra strength muscle rub, 3,000 milligram with 5% lidocaine.
So look,
Oh, yeah,
if you're
lidocaine.
sore, this is the stuff you want to rub on your body to make those aches and pains go away. They even have CBD infused coffee, so you can have coffee without the little jitter that you get from caffeine, and you have it in the morning and you start your day off right. Your body feels lubricated. You're going to sleep good.
Yeah, and also they have, if you kind of forget to reorder, they've got subscriptions.
And they're giving the No Simple Road family 20% off.
20% off.
Put
with
in the promo code NSR20 when you're checking out at sunsetlakecbd.com. You're going to get 20% off your entire order.
NSR20.
And don't forget those cute little gummy bears.
That's right. sunsetlakecbd.com, one of our favorite sponsors, is back.
Hey everyone, Chris Pandolfi from the infamous String Dusters here to let you know that my podcast, Inside the Musician's Brain, is back on the airwaves for Season 4, which means it's time once again to get deep with influential musicians from all across the musical landscape to really understand and translate the lessons of success, failure, inspiration, and hard work that are behind the music and the artists that we love. My guests this season include Rachel Price from Lake Street Dives, Sam Bush, Chris Wood, Chris Funk from The Decemberists, Lindsay Liu, MC Taylor from His Golden Messenger, and more. Check us out, and thanks for listening.
We're so excited to tell you a bit about today's sponsor, Music Masters Collective. They are a nonprofit organization that produces unique music events, providing opportunities for fans and artists to meet and collaborate in an inspired and creative atmosphere.
Music Masters Collective events give you the opportunity to learn from world-class musicians like Otil Burbridge, Steve Earle, Richard Thompson, former members of the band, the Milk Carton Kids, Nikki Glaspie, the Fab Four, and Sean Colvin, and so many more.
At an event like the Milk Carton Kids Sad Song Summer Camp happening this July, you can expect immersive classes, evenings of entertainment, excellent food, and a space for a lucky group of folks to learn, co-write, workshop, and perform with like-minded peers, all with the guidance of Kenneth Pattengale, Joey Ryan, and some of their favorite songwriters. This all-inclusive week in the Catskill Mountains of upstate New York is guaranteed to be magical. Scholarships are available and spots are extremely limited, so visit www.sadsongsummercamp.com/simple to learn more. That's www.sadsongsummercamp.com/simple. Check it out.
No simple road. No simple road. No simple road. No simple road.
How you do that? You just do it, and then you push the button, and things happen. It's amazing. Here we are.
Incredible.
We did it. Hey now, No Simple Road family. It's two shows in the same week.
2 shows in one.
That's right. No, well, not 2 shows in one.
2 for 1.
Yeah. Essay, double up. 2
Yeah.
for 20, no deals. Yeah, man. Welcome, everybody. It's Aaron.
Welcome. It's Mel.
And it's Apple.
We're here with a special midweek release for all of you. Before we get started, remember to support all of the No Simple Road sponsors like Electric Fish Lights and Shop Tour Bus and Define Premium Cannabis
And Sunset
Lake CBD.
and Mellify. Go
What?
check all of them out. We'll have all of the information on discount codes and all the info on them in the show notes. So make sure you head over and check those out. Hook yourself up with lights and weed and shirts and fun other CBD products and cool shit, man. Go
All
check it
kinds
out.
of cool
All
shit.
Good stuff.
This week, we have something special for you guys.
Yeah.
The Owsley Stanley Foundation. We have Hawk and Starfinder, and they are the curators of the legacy that Bear left behind with all of the recordings that he did. They are the two that are running the ship over there and making sure that these Bears sonic journals get out into the world with the class, style, and I don't know, what's another word?
Grace.
There we go. Thank you, Apple. That's a good word.
And preservation.
Yeah, man. This is like super important work that these guys are doing. You know, Owsley Stanley, or Bear as he's better known, was not only the benefactor of the Grateful Dead, he was not only an artist and a sculptor and an audiophile, he was
A father.
well, that too. Not just those things. He was really, if you think about it in a lot of ways, he was the inventor of modern day concert sound, an innovator and a visionary.
A sound historian.
Yeah. And what he did is he went around to all the, not just Grateful Dead and, you know, psychedelic stuff, but all kinds of music, and recorded them in very particular, certain kinds of ways that these recordings are very unique sounding. And there's all these reels, and what the Owsley Stanley Foundation does is they're preserving them. If you don't know this, magnetic reel-to-reel tapes over time will degrade, and the sound that's on them basically disappears. So they're running out of time with these reels. And, you know, you can go to Owsley Stanley Foundation's website, Google it, and go over there and check it out, and actually sponsor a reel.
That's rad.
Yeah. And, you know, you'll be the one responsible for financially backing one of these releases. You can't really pick what release. It's, how are they doing it again, Apple? Are they doing it by oldest to newest, or
Like damage.
My understanding, they're kind of doing it because you can kind of tell by looking at them how old they are, and if they look like they're being a little degraded, like they're trying to preserve those first. And as I recall, I think we get into it in this conversation, they've gotten quite a few of them transferred. You know, so it saves it from reel to reel, but then goes in all the work of getting it in digital.
And all that.
Yeah, and they have to go to the estates of all these artists because a lot of them are passed and stuff, and they have to get the okay to do. I mean, these guys are doing a lot of legwork.
yeah, this is, they're
to get these out.
preserving the legacy of Bear, and also
And maintaining that integrity of the sound through that, transformation of the reel-to-reel to CD or digital.
And then also preserving the legacy of the family and the American music history. This is legit history that went down. And this this conversation that we had was around their last release. They're getting ready to come out with Johnny Cash from Folsom Prison.
Okay, that's why I didn't know if we could say anything about that or not.
That
Yeah.
one's, that's not what we talked about here. This one that we talked about was Tim Buckley, and I hadn't ever heard of Tim Buckley prior to this.
None of us had
Nope.
until we started kind of researching. Hadn't heard Tim Buckley, but he is the father of Jeff Buckley, who a lot of people out there knew who he was, and tragically drowned in an accident quite a while ago. So this is a legacy of his father, who died at an early age back in the early 70s.
And, you know, when we got the CD and gave it a listen. Beyond the amazing audio quality of these CDs, Tim Buckley, the thing that was impressed on me the most was like, I can't believe I didn't know about this music was the first thing. And the second thing was, anybody that's part of our scene or the family needs to know who this is and soak up this music. And I really get why they put this out. It
was like kind of eerie and beautiful and timeless, and it almost felt like a secret, like we were listening to a secret, the way that it was recorded, you know? And it was just like so interesting. And for me, I ended up going into my car like in the evening one night and putting it on and listening, and just with the door closed, and it was incredible. I just can't underscore enough how good the sound quality is.
I just remember you coming out of the car going, this album is like a real trip.
Yeah, it definitely
took me on a trip.
It's heavy. I mean, this... Let's say it was in the Carousel Ballroom, San Francisco, June 15th and 16th, 1968. So this was right in the middle of everything going on there. And this comes to, it's not really like protesty or anything, but there's some heaviness to these lyrics, and it also spans time. It's very relevant, some of it to now. And this recording, like Mel was saying, they listened to it first, and I listened to it in my car, and then listened to it on headphones. And this is one of those because he's doing acoustic and stuff. The one thing I love the most about this, a lot of times, like acoustics, it gets really loud and then really quiet. Like this, it does that, loud and quiet, but the sound, you never have to adjust it. It stays like steady. Even when because pardon me, he gets really quiet. And so it takes it way down, but you can still very coherently hear everything that's going on. You can hear like each pluck on the string.
That's what I was saying. That's why it was kind of like a secret, you know, the way that the sound quality was, is it kind of brought you into
like you're sitting on the stage with him.
Yeah.
So the tapes were transferred and mastered by Jeff Norman. He's from Mockingbird Mastering, and he was like one of the guys that collaborated with the Dead and Bear. So that's the guy that like did the mastering on this thing. And then when you order the CD, you get a 28 page booklet, and it's got original cover art by Dennis Larkin and liner notes with interviews with the bassist, who's John Miller, the lyricist Larry Beckett, and the Buckley scholar Pat Thomas. That there's a scholar on this guy should tell you, if you don't know who he is, how important his music is. And yeah, man, I just got to say the guys at Owsley Stanley Foundation are doing the Lord's work.
Yeah, I'm glad I could sit in on this one, because the first time we had them on, I wasn't able to join. But this time it was so nice to get to know them and hear their mission, and they're passionate about it, and it's really awesome.
Yeah, they're like giddy about it. They make you excited about it when you sit there and talk to them and see how passionate they are about this entire project.
You know, we're talking about like fantastic audio quality and like Bear's meticulous nature, and I have to tell you guys something. There was a problem when we did this interview with the sound, actually.
Which is very ironic. Is it ironic? What is it that that be?
Apple's mic wasn't on for some reason. It was doubled with Mel's mic, and it looked like there was 3 mics going in the room, but there was only 2. So when you listen to the interview, you're going to hear Apple, and it sounds like he's off mic. He's not. His mic just wasn't on, and what you're hearing is him picked up through me and Mel's mic. So my apologies for the poor sound quality.
Well, then, and when you get the CD, you'll appreciate even more the sound quality.
What? Yeah, Aaron did this on purpose, so you would have a comparison of poor sound quality.
Look, stuff happens, you know. We're not perfect. Sometimes the show's going to sound amazing. Other times the show's going to be like, it's still going to be dope.
I would say 99.9% of the time we sound just fine. But this was one of those times that when we hit stop at the end and I went back and listened, I was like, had that sinking feeling in my solar plexus, like, oh no. But it's not that bad. Now that I'm giving you a heads up, I did go in and lift his voice as best I could, and you know, I did what I could.
Because there's great
Get
info.
it? Bear with it.
Well, and luckily I'm not really quiet, so it kind of, at least my voice got caught on Mel's mic.
Yeah.
I gotta say, the other thing about this too, you're gonna know when you listen to this Tim Buckley thing. Like we said, we didn't really know who he was, but he has a 4-octave range with his voice, and the way it comes through, like one moment it's like soft lullaby lulling you down, and then he gets into the just those vocals go through the roof. It's up and down. This is a ride that he takes you on in this performance.
That's why there's a merry-go-round on the front of the
80
CD.
minutes, even 80 minutes of music. That's a lot too.
Check this out. I'm gonna read you just this little short blurb. It's from the website. This is the most important Tim Buckley release since Dream Letter, featuring a singular performance with a jazz rock lineup that calls to mind Van Morrison's Astral Weeks. Buckley, father of Jeff Buckley, made his mark with Southern California folk rock sound and 4-octave vocal range, but this rich weave of accessible, warm, improvisational music reveals Buckley in a light never before captured on tape, including 2 newly discovered songs, which is Blues Love and The Lonely Life. Early drafts of Buckley's classics and a stunning cover of Fred Neil's Merry-Go-Round. Recorded by the Grateful Dead's legendary soundman Owsley Stanley, the infamous LSD chemist. This is one of the treasures of his Sonic Journal archive. Buckley's performance is incredible, and Bear's thumbprint on the Sonics is part of the magic. That's a glowing representation of what this is. And you guys, I'm really, really, really excited for you to hear this conversation, and anything you can do to support the Owsley Stanley Foundation. Go to their website, get involved, sign up for updates from them. If you want to sponsor a reel, the information is there on how you can do it. Go buy all the
check out
Khan, the Allman Brothers.
Doc and Merle Watson. The Allman Brothers one is amazing.
I want to borrow that
New
one
Riders
from you,
of
Apple.
the Purple Sage, Commander Cody and his Lost Planet Airmen. And these are just going to keep coming out.
Yeah.
Each one is just as impressive as the last.
And
if not.
I would be remiss if I didn't say that these are 2 of the most fun human beings to talk to on the planet. Starfinder is just an amazing human being and his father's son through and through. And Hawk is so excited about this, and you can just feel their energy when they get on the Zoom call with us. They're in the room.
Yeah, this is like their passion project, obviously, and it comes through. Just, you guys are killing it.
Yep, man. So we're midweek. Mel and I are probably on our way back from Hershey right now on the plane.
Yeah.
We already saw fish, and I'm putting this out into the universe. Aaron, just get some rest, man. It's all good. You're going to be cool. And then,
Either that or, like I said earlier, you guys call on Wednesday and you're like, we're not coming home. We met these psychedelic Amish people out here. We have
Hell
a buggy
yeah.
and cart now, and man, they are trippy.
Dude's
You need to
got
come
a
out
lab.
here.
We're coming back for Darwin.
and Apple and Simon and Ryder and the No Simple Road family. We're dragging y'all to Pennsylvania. No, we're on our way back right now. And hi to me and Mel. How you doing, babe?
I'm doing great.
Hi, guys. Bet you had a
Always
great
doing
time.
Did you have a good time?
I had a fantastic time.
What a blast.
Danced my little toesies off.
All right, me too. I don't have
They'll
any
fill you
toesies
in
left.
on next week's show.
Yeah. We were just talking to ourselves in the future from the past, so don't mind us. So you know what? Since it's midweek, we're going to forego the natural pleasantries of No Simple Road and
Natural?
just
Yeah, well, everybody know. You guys know the business,
doing
the
good,
Patreon thing,
yeah.
how to get merch on our site, the Instagram, all the social
And
media stuff.
if you don't know any of that stuff, at No Simple Road on all the social media platforms. And for information, news, weather, sports, and merch, go to www.nosimpleroad.com. If you want to do something really sweet for us, you can go on Apple Podcasts and leave us a 5-star review and then type your little thumbs off, leaving us a little paragraph about how much you love the show, and that helps other people find out about us, man. So
Yeah.
You want to do us a solid, that's what you do.
And that's the biggest thing we ask is word of mouth. Tell somebody you love, because we know there's somebody you love, and tell them about us so that they can listen to and be on the bus.
All right, you guys, this is Grateful Dead family right here, and Owsley Stanley Foundation is part of our world, and we love them, and
we do.
Are super honored to be able to have this platform to help get the word out about what they're doing,
and have a little
because
partnership with them, and
it's a big deal.
Yeah.
So get ready and strap in, y'all. This is going to be a fun one. Remember, Apple is in the room during this interview. I promise. He is there. And just bend your ear to hear the tune. We love you guys. Without further ado, the No Simple Road crew gives you the
Owsley Stanley Foundation.
Traveling through this world of woe, and I find sickness, toil and danger everywhere I go, Lord, everywhere. And I'm going where I can find my brother. I'm going there, no more the road. I'm going there. Oh, it's just over Jordan. I'm going there to my new home. Well, one of these mornings, it won't be long now. Oh, then we'll rise and stand side by side. And ain't it nice? Oh, that mountain glory. Their foes will fall on freedom's sky. I'm going there to find my brother. I'm going there, no more road. I'm going there. Oh, it's just over Jordan. I'm going there to my new home. You gotta live when you wanna live. You gotta give what you wanna give. You gotta this world of woe. And I found sickness, toil and danger everywhere I go, everywhere I roam. I'm going there to see my brother. I'm going there no more to roam. I'm going there. Oh, it's just over Jordan. I'm going there to my new home. To my new
How you doing, man? It's good to see you again.
Yeah, good.
Yeah,
Good to see you too.
right on. I'm Aaron, if you forgot, and that's Apple.
Hey, Aaron. Hey, Apple.
How's it going, man? So,
Good. It's good to be here.
Starfinder.
Starfinder, where are you at on the planet?
I am like approximately here.
Right there.
I'm in West Sonoma County.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. Yeah, we were just, I asked Hawk if he was in Australia, and Apple's like, why would you ask him that?
But
my
no,
accent. It's my Appalachian.
If you were in Australia, he would be.
It would look
appearing
like that, totally.
that, right?
Yeah, that's the first telltale sign.
Coming to you live from Australia.
Good eye, mate.
He's moved.
So,
Holy shit, it's good to see you.
yeah, man.
It's good to see smiling faces in the world we live in now.
Amen,
It's all
brother.
about the
Good to be back.
Yeah, you know,
2020 view.
2020 was no fucking joke, gentlemen. It was
No.
it's still going. I mean, we have not landed the plane yet.
No, but the runway is in sight. I think that, which is they just announced tour. Although I just looked at the tour dates for Dead and Company for the summer, and there's like no Northern California shows. That's very confusing for me.
I think the furthest north they're going is Santa Barbara. Is that right?
San Diego, I thought.
They're playing Santa Barbara Bowl, Hollywood Bowl, Santa Barbara Bowl, and I think that's it. Yeah, we got no love in the Pacific Northwest, nothing.
No gorge, no nothing.
Not even a shoreline.
Yeah.
Maybe there'll be more.
It's confusing. I was hoping for a San Francisco show because driving all the way down the shoreline's a hassle. But the Oracle Arena or whatever you call the what's the new Warriors Stadium in San Francisco, it's a nice venue.
Yeah. We have a couple
Chase.
really awesome ones up here that, like, the first year we moved up here to Portland, they played the Moda Center up here, and that was like our welcome to moving here. It was like a month after we got here. But it's fuck it, man. You know what? At least we're seeing shit get announced. I've seen festivals being announced. Music is coming back. It's a fucking beautiful thing. It's something that we've talked about a lot, is like I don't know about you guys, man, but like music was something that I just figured was a given no matter what was going on in the world. Let it be war or famine or whatever, there's always going to be live music happening. And this was a shock. This fucked me up, man. It really underscored the importance of being together with our family and fucking dancing and listening to music and having those frequencies hit you out in person as opposed to through a screen, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's also perhaps motivation to upgrade the sound system. I need a subwoofer.
Yeah, no shit, man. We've got a buddy that's like a total audiophile. You guys would get along great. And on New Year's Eve, he invited us to his house, and we watched a string cheese show from like 2014 or something. And he has like that 3D sound system in his house, and I'm like, okay, I understand being an audiophile now. We were there.
Yeah. Well, that's like, if you listen to the tapes from the, Wall of Sound era, no matter how well they're recorded, it's not the same as being there, right?
Yeah, no shit. So tell me about what's going on, you guys, because this is pretty awesome. This new release is something special.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. This is going to be a big summer for OSF, possibly our biggest ever. Just the way things have sort of fallen together. Started off with the Tim Buckley release that's coming out on June 4th. It's been on our radar since 2017. And Adopt a Real Patron sponsored the preservation of the Sunday show from June 16th, 1968. Carousel Ballroom, Tim Buckley's set. When we heard it, we knew that it was something special. We had been familiar with Buckley's music, through his studio albums, when we were in college, but we'd never heard anything like this. And I know in the Buckley universe, Tim is known for his, live performances and dedication to improvisational art, but this totally floored us. And we went down the rabbit hole on Tim Buckley, and it took a couple years. We played it for the family, the Buckley estate. And, it was great that their jaws hit the table when they heard the sound quality and the richness and depth of this performance. And it was funny because after we met, we played it for them, and, we spent a couple hours together listening to it. And we were saying our goodbyes, and they were like, man, we thought you were going to be just another dude with a tape.
Oh, shit.
That happens quite frequently. Everybody's got a tape of somebody, right. Back in the day, but almost none of them are Owsley quality tapes. And, we knew that not only the sound quality, but the performance was just magnificent. And, really thrilled to finally bring this gem to light. We've got another release coming that we're about to announce next month. It will be released in September. And we've got another one in September through one of our partners. And we've just started working on 2022 release schedule, and some really large projects in 2022. It'll be a 2 CD set and a 3 CD set. Fingers crossed if all goes well. So lots going on, more projects in the works. And of course, the preservation effort moves forward. I was just joking with Starfinder before the call. His mother-in-law. So we talk about this Adopt a Real program, right? And how patrons want to, we really encourage the community to be a part of it and contribute. And then for your contribution, we invite you into the process of preserving these reels. We even do that for one another. And, I've bought, preserved reels for friends and loved ones, and Starfinder's mom for his 50th, or mother-in-law for his 50th, didn't tell him about it, but came to me and said, hey, can we preserve a reel for his birthday? And I said, well, what reel could we preserve that would be, really, really meaningful to the Owsley story and to, the arc of Starfinder's life? So I selected the Going Away Grateful Dead shows at the Euphoria Ballroom in July 14th and July 16th, 1970. These were Owsley's last shows before he went to prison. And there were some special guests that joined that night, including David Crosby, who played a set and played with the Grateful Dead on Cumberland Blues and New Speedway Boogie. And then on the 16th, Janis showed up and, of course, sang In Love Light. And that was, Bear adored Janis. By the time, it wasn't long after he was in prison that Janis passed away. So our theory is that this is the last night that Bear would have seen Janis. And it's a lot of history, a lot of richness. Gives me goosebumps to think of,
us too.
Starfinder's mother-in-law preserving this and finding this like is the perfect tape to celebrate his 50th birthday.
So I gotta ask, like you preserve this reel for his birthday, right? He knows nothing about it. Do you play this for him at his birthday party?
No,
he knows about it. I haven't heard it yet.
You still haven't heard it?
Well, this is a little more
Stanley time here.
This is a little more insight into how we operate. That decision was made in November.
Oh shit.
And I just got the tapes freshly preserved this week. So morning, listening to them and writing notes about them.
I haven't heard them yet. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Didn't Jeffrey copy you on that link? He should have copied you on that link.
I just downloaded a bunch of stuff, but I haven't looked. It's not labeled, so I don't know what it is.
Ah, our secret code. Yes.
The not labeled code. We have that same code.
Well, it's
the best way to ensure that
real number this and real number that,
and the real numbers don't mean anything to anybody.
Yeah.
Well, there's a database, and so I just have to pull up the database and look at what the numbers correlate to. But yeah,
the Buckley release, we got a copy of it, and so we don't have a CD player in the house, right?
Oh,
and so my wife is like, look, we need to sit down and listen to this thing right now. And so she smokes a big old bowl and goes and gets in her car in the garage. And I go get in there with her. And I got to be honest, I'd never heard of Buckley before. And I was fucking blown away, man. Like, first of all, how did I miss this? Was the first thing that came to mind. But second, like, the magic of the recording is so apparent to even a layman, somebody that is not an audiophile, or just that recording is so incredibly dense and deep, and it really puts you. I felt like I was sitting at the lip of the stage. It's a trip, man. And
yeah.
I mean, do you guys get that? I got to imagine that when you hit those reels for the first time, that the hair is just fucking standing up on your arms, right?
Yes, exactly. And that's like, we're both here beaming because it's the audience that wasn't familiar with Buckley that's having the same reaction to these tapes that we had. And when we sort of sit alone in the lab and listen to these things for the first time and can't share them with anybody, and what's the context for this magnificent creature, right, that we're hearing for the first time in 53 years. And wait a second, am I hearing this right? There's always going to be that sort of second guessing of ourselves in the process.
Right.
We try to do everything by consensus committee. Like, you agree? Like, is this the most magnificent thing you ever heard? Oh yeah, that's pretty damn good. And then we wonder if now we've reached consensus on this, what's the rest of the world going to think? Are they going to hear what we hear? Okay, well, let's go check out the Buckley estate and see what they think.
Mm-hmm.
Their jaws hit the table. Okay, now we know we're really onto something here.
Mm-hmm.
And so one thing, and this is sort of getting back to the Grateful Dead sort of scene, a lot of Deadheads that I know are not familiar with Buckley. And what we heard in this Buckley recording, it's different. It's not the Grateful Dead, obviously. There's only one Grateful Dead, and it's not even, there's no comparison.
No.
They're each in a separate category. But what Tim Buckley does is the same kind of thing that we enjoy most about the Grateful Dead, which is that constant reinvention on the fly, the total immersion and improvisation as the mode. This is a dude that couldn't play the song the same way twice. And, it just constitutionally not constructed to do that.
Right.
And when you realize
he can't even sing it the same way twice. It's not just playing.
Yeah.
The lyrics are quite labile.
Arbitrary.
And you guys like that word, labile?
Yeah.
That's a word that we debated, not including in the liner notes, like, for hours. There's another glimpse in sort of our editorial committee process. So I'm really thrilled that Starfinder got to use the word labile on the air.
You get 5 points.
Well, I got outvoted.
What you say is so true. I mean, yes, there is only one Grateful Dead. That goes without saying, but that Deadheads don't know who Buckley is, it didn't seem fair. Like after I heard it, do you know what I mean? Like like I said, how the fuck did I miss this? And it really is, it comes from the same universe. We were like just listening to some, studio stuff while we were cooking earlier. And I said to Apple, I was like, LSD is responsible for so much fucking great music. Like you can tell that it comes from the same world. It's got the same scent to it, same flavor.
It's funny because after we did the album and did all the liner notes, we stumbled across an account from
Lee Underwood. Lee Underwood, the guitar player. Lee Underwood was a guitar player who was typically a part of this ensemble, but for whatever reason wasn't at the Carousel Ballroom shows. Amazing guitar player and sideman for Buckley.
Yeah, and so he was recounting the night that Buzz and Fly, which opens the album, was written, and apparently it started off taking a couple of tabs of Owsley Purple.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay. The connections are everywhere.
And it's one of the most popular Tim Buckley songs. The one that was always requested at his performances to the point where it drove him mad. Get every night, everywhere he went, people requesting Buzz and Fly. So another Owsley contribution to the music world that is perhaps less obvious. And there's a funny story that we also came across. You talk about acid, and this is a little bit of tangential, but apparently Jim Morrison, who was also from LA, and Buckley was from LA, they walking down the street encountered each other, and Buckley was drunk and Jim Morrison was on acid, and they both recognized in their inebriated states that each one was on the other's chemical of choice. And they had this moment of realization, like, whoa, is up, down, is day, night? And then they just kept walking.
Mel's joining us. Hang on one second. One second. Let me.
We got. I guess we didn't get to chat with you the last time, but we heard you on when it aired.
Oh my gosh, I loved every second of the Ali Akbar one, and then the second one that you guys are talking about right now, right?
Yeah, Jeff Buckley.
Oh my gosh, you guys are doing. You're doing the Lord's work for sure. Because, it's like uncovering a treasure chest. I think everybody, like all of us as kids, love that mystery and, finding something really cool and exciting, I should say. And that's exactly what these are, these journals. Like, I know when I read through my old journals, there's like all this like magic that I discovered within myself. So doing that and uncovering stuff that has been hidden it like appeals to the kid in all of us. Like, oh my God, the music fan that, the person who's waiting to just, what are you putting out next? So thank you so much for like the arduous task of what you guys have taken on.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening and getting it.
Yeah, definitely getting it. And I do some like energy work, body work, and putting that Ali Akbar on took it to a whole nother level. It really did. I actually did a treatment on Apple with that on, and
I was like, I want to put this on, and it's the same as the other recordings. It's like you're inside of his sitar, like or there. It is all around you. All his other recordings of Ali Akbar are amazing, but you're not
immersed.
surrounded by it.
Yeah.
Like in it.
Yeah. That crawls inside every nook and cranny of your brain.
Yeah. So then you add the element of like touch and energy, and it just really brings it to a whole nother. It's like playing the instrument of the human with him playing, you know.
Oh shit! Yeah.
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 It's interesting. Zakir Hussain said that, when he heard the recording, he said this is like a how-to manual of recording Indian music, and that he wished all Indian music, live music, was recorded this way.
Wow.
Oh shit!
It was a great compliment listening to a 50-year-old recording.
Yeah.
And those classical Indian musicians, at least to me in my head, are like another level of musical understanding, like knowing what raga is right for what time of day, and like energetically speaking, and those guys. And so to get a compliment from somebody like that about how you're doing it is multi-layered. That's pretty dope. I'll take that one 1,000 times.
Likewise, yeah. It's funny. We went through that whole process of learning about Indian classical music and talking about the time of day. We actually cut a lot of that material out of the liner notes because it's interesting, because Ali Akbar Khan typically wouldn't play, particularly later in his life, was more adamant about you don't play something that's a morning raga at night. And Sindhu Bhairavi is more of a morning raga than a night raga. And we're piecing this together, and it was sort of a mystery to his children. Why is he playing this particular piece? It's not a deep mystery, but it's one of those sort of curiosities. And what we ultimately concluded was that this was raga around the clock, and he was playing very lengthy shows all night long, until wee hours of the morning at least. So by the time the Sindhu Bhairavi, the 76-minute closer, ended, it was probably 2 a.m. at the family dock. So a morning raga might be perfectly appropriate.
Yeah.
Right.
At that point. Wow. If I'm remembering correctly, I hope I didn't just get that all completely backwards, but that gives you a flavor of the conversation that we had. Yeah.
Starfinder, I got to ask you a question, man, because this brings up something that I've wondered. I lost my dad at the beginning of
the end
of 2019, beginning of 2020, and my dad was a movie producer and a writer and a director, and there's been times since his passing that like I've smelled his cologne or his cigar, or dreamt about him, really profound dreams. And your dad is such a profound mark on society. His fingerprints are all over the place and in every nook and cranny of our family. And then you start unearthing these journals, these sonic journals. And I just wonder, man, like, when you're going through these reels and listening to these recordings and knowing what he did to get them and how his brain worked, like, do you feel him there with you when you're going through these things?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I have these cherished memories of visiting the archive. For a while, it was in the vault with the Grateful Dead's tapes until they got shipped down to LA when Rhino took over the vault. But when it lived in Northern California, Bear kept his tapes in there. And when he came back to the States from Australia, sometimes he would go visit and pull tapes. And just going there and going through the boxes, and he would pull out tapes and look at his writing on the box and start talking about the show. He had all of these memories that 1,300 reels, and he'd be like, oh yeah, this was a good one. It's like, oh. Pull out another one, and he'd read, says weird, could be good. Maybe not. But that's just one of the things that when we're going through the tapes, he would mark tapes that he thought were special. He'd put notations on them sometimes, and so we do have little messages from him here and there, that help guide some of our choices. But I'm always thinking about how much I would prefer to be doing this with him, and being able to have his voice in the liner notes and tell the tales of all of these experiences. I mean, to have been to all of these shows at that time, with these people and it is experience the music in real time and capture it. That was an amazing life.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And it brings up a good question too. Like, that the time that Bear was doing what he was doing and recording these shows was very, I don't know what the very profound time for music. There was a lot of new seminal. There was a lot of new shit happening, and like things that had never been sonically created were coming out. And since then, I don't know if we've ever had another renaissance like that musically. I guess maybe from my perspective might be skewed because of how the genres and whatnot that I listen to. But in my opinion, I don't think that we've seen something quite like that again. Do you think so?
Well, I mean, acid was legal.
Right. That's pretty simple. Yeah.
I mean,
period. Right.
I'm sure there are other elements at play, but I think that was a big one.
Yeah.
It's a felony to get caught with a joint, but acid, when Bear made it, it wasn't illegal. It was just hard to find. So that's why he started, he wanted to make sure he had good quality, and it's hard to make a little.
That's been a quest of mine through my whole life. Like I really, if I'm going to do stuff, I really want to have the best, and I got to hand it to him. I'm fuck it. I'm going to figure out how to make it and do it right. Like that's genius. Yeah. So
if Bear was anything, it was uncompromising about quality.
Wow.
Well,
did that get passed down to you, do you think?
I have been accused of perfection.
Hawk, let's hear the truth.
I can neither confirm
or deny.
Look, man, I got to work with this guy.
Smart answer.
I'll tell you what, it's a beautiful collaboration that we have within the foundation. The way that the skill sets of the various participants, manifest.
Right.
And my job is often to crack the whip.
Oh, really?
I'm the Sam Cutler of the Owsley Stanley Foundation.
Okay. Type A.
make sure that I'm thinking, my goodness, yes, if Bear were involved in this process, we'd have all the insight. The biggest question I have when we select releases is, would Bear want this to be released? And we have such little guidance. We have like sort of a list of his top 10. And we don't have very much information beyond that. And so I'm always questioning, like, what would Bear do? What would Bear do? But I'll tell you one thing, and this is a way of answering the Starfinder question. How many releases would we have if Bear was involved?
You say you've got a top. You say you've got a top 10. How many of those are those on a list to come out ahead of others? Because when we spoke last time, you said that the selection process is based on the age of the reel, right?
That's the selection to preserve.
Okay.
Okay.
His top 10, what I refer to as top 10, were reels that he had preserved in his lifetime, with a view towards
or marked in some way to denote that he thought that they were special and should be, that like he had been trying to, it was before the internet was really quite as pervasive. So, one of the problems he had was in reconnecting with some of the musicians or their estates when he thought there was good music that he'd like to work on getting out, to just to get to the artists. So the we knew which ones, we knew some of the ones that he was working on in the background, trying to get to a point where they might be considered for a release, but he hadn't been able to make that progress. And thankfully we're gonna have one of those coming out this September. We're queuing it up.
Yeah, one that was probably right near the very top of that list, if not the top of that list. It was one that Bear worked on for a very long time in his lifetime, and one that we've been working on steadily for 3 years. And
oh wow,
just can't wait to reveal this to the world.
So
I like the surprises.
I do too. That's fun.
It is. It's fun. It's like when back in the day when you would buy like baseball cards, you didn't know who you were getting, and then sometimes you got like a Hank Aaron or Dwight Gooden or whatever, and you're like super stoked about it because they only come once in a lifetime, and that's super rad. Like again, that little just seems like he left like breadcrumbs.
And there's a lot of breadcrumbs.
And that's a
Not
rad
bread.
Legacy.
Big meaty steak.
Yeah. Okay. Meaty breadcrumbs.
Crumbs.
Beef tips.
Yeah.
Beef tips.
You say 3 years, man. So to my layman's head, I'm like, what could possibly take 3 years to get music off of a reel? Like, can you explain that a little bit? What takes?
Sometimes
the
music came off the reel.
It takes years to.
Okay.
The music came off the reel in Bear's lifetime.
Yeah.
But each one of these looks like I might be frozen.
No, you're good. You're good.
You might be frozen on your end, but you're good.
Each one of these has a sort of its own path. And, sometimes that involves work with the artist. Sometimes it involves work with the estates. Sometimes it involves work with record labels. And, each of those interests has to be accounted for. And we do things open and transparent. And, some of the details just take time.
There's a lot of paperwork.
There's a lot of paperwork behind the scenes. It's, this goes back to, and we may have discussed this before, but, Owsley had an access to these artists that very few had, and particularly to this diverse and array of 80 plus artists. And they knew that he was taping, but they knew they could trust him to not exploit these commercially without their say so, because he wasn't doing it to commercialize it. He was doing it to become a better sound man at a time when everybody in the industry needed the sound systems to be better than they were at that time. And so it was a sacred trust. And, he sort of passed down that ethical responsibility to us that nothing gets released without artist approval or their estate's approval. And so, we often, particularly in the early days, less so now, in the early days, we used to get hit all the time by people saying, well, come on, just press click and send it out there. Just send the link, share it, post it. And, we can't do that.
Right.
It's not how we work. Unfortunately, it takes a lot longer to do it the way we do it. That's part of what takes 3 years.
Yeah.
Have you come up against a lot of no's?
We have not come up with against a lot of no's. We have come up with some.
Okay.
And it's always.
I view them as temporary roadblocks.
Love Jack and Yorma, and Jack and Yorma are just awesome friends of the foundation. Without their support, we probably wouldn't exist. But it took about 2 years, to get them focused on that particular release. And I love the story. I hope I'm not talking out of school because it's a great story. I hand delivered the CD to Yorma at a concert and talked about the foundation. He said, oh yeah, I'll listen to it. And then he played a benefit show for us shortly after. This was in 2015. And I said, hey, what about that CD I gave you? And I don't think he'd listened to it. It took a long time for him to listen to it. What ended up happening was his techie, Myron, who's another lovely soul. I guess they were on a bus together on tour. And Myron asked the bus driver, why don't you go take a walk for a bit? Jorma comes back on the bus. Myron says, okay, we're going to listen to this now.
Oh, shit.
And it was on a Sunday afternoon. They had to wait till they got a bus that had a good sound system in it. Myron wanted to hit Jorma because I'd gone down to the ranch and listened with Myron and, is this as good as I think it is? And he's like, yes, this is as good as you think it is. This is amazing stuff. And so it was a Sunday afternoon, I know, because I was in my office, and all of a sudden my phone starts lighting up and people start texting me. And apparently Jorma heard, the opening track. What was it? Rock Me Baby.
Okay.
And he leaned back in the bus and smiled this big smile, and then starts reaching for his phone to call Jack and say, oh my God, have you heard this? And we were off to the races, but it took a long time to sort of get that on their radar. It took a little inside help.
Right.
And mostly that's, he wasn't ignoring us. It's mostly these guys are so focused on the art that they're creating today.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That they don't have time to think about what they may or may not have played well or brilliantly or not so well 51 years ago.
Yeah.
And,
wow.
And I think, a lot of these guys, for the most part, they have the view that if it was any good, I'd have released it, man. I had years to think about this, But this was a truly lost tape on a night where you can hear it on the tape. They were just laying it out as they wrote in the liner notes. They were blowing. They were just blowing. And it's brilliant. It worked.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, and the other delay in that project was how long did it take us to find the second half of that show?
That's right. That's right. We only had the first 45 minutes. We found the other parts of the show on different opening and closing act reels.
Oh shit.
Wow.
So there was only one reel that was labeled Jorma and Jack from that date and that venue, but we found their fragments of sets on the back of Cleanliness and Godliness Skiffle Band and on the front of Grateful Dead and on the back of Grateful Dead. Because what happened the first night was Cleanliness and Godliness Skiffle Band opened up for the Dead. And Jerry sat in on pedal steel for A11, and then he stayed on pedal steel. So he played with Cleanliness and Godliness Skiffle Band. Then the Grateful Dead came on, and Jerry stayed on pedal steel to open with Slewfoot. They closed with him back on pedal steel for Green Green Grass of Home. And then Jack and Jorma closed the show. And the next night they flip-flopped, and Jack and Jorma was the middle set, and the Grateful Dead closed the show.
Okay.
And what that meant was we had portions of Jack and Jorma on fronts and backs of reels all over the place. And it just took us a long time to find them, discover that they were there because they weren't labeled, and present a larger package to Jack and Jorma.
And there's hundreds and hundreds of tapes like that. So it's like we keep coming across things. It's like, holy cow, there's another one.
So that makes sense, adding that time in there.
Yeah, and then there, of course, are the tapes that are completely unlabeled, and we have no idea what's on them until we preserve them and play them. And that's a harder one to get patrons interested in.
Yeah. How about you take this one that we don't know what the hell it is.
We don't know what it is. Could be something, could be nothing.
Oh, wow.
That's
I was just going to say that's the thing. What explains your guys' time too is that what we've released so far, the packages are beautiful. From the artwork to the booklets, these two sweethearts got me because after we talked to you guys, I was like, okay, I can hear the Allman Brothers one on whatever. I want the 3 CD set, and they got it for me for Christmas. And it's blown away, and it's a beautiful package. The recordings are amazing. There's nothing like it. I've listened to Allman Brothers all my life, but I've never heard them like that. Again, it just points, what Bear did and what you guys are doing to preserve it and present it to the world the way it should be. You guys are
yeah, well, Bear was really, really keen on getting those sonic journals out. He understood the need for compromise with the compilation disc on the Allman Brothers, but he still really felt strongly that the best way to listen to those tapes were to listen to each sonic journal. and they weren't all there because he didn't know how long the jam was going to stretch. And you figure you got an extra 10 minutes of tape, that should do it. And then they launch it to
sometimes
27-minute mountain jam or whatever, and the tape runs out.
Right.
But yeah, there's we always try to get those sonic journals one way or another, like with the Commander Cody and his Lost Planet Airmen, which is really fun set that we did. We did one sonic journal from the 7 shows that we had, and then we did a compromise. We gave a little taste of a few of the other shows as a compilation bonus tracks disc, but we mastered every single one of those shows. So every sonic journal of those Commander Cody and his Lost Planet Airmen shows were fully mastered and available for digital download. So we want people to be able to get the sonic journals as Bear wanted you to hear them. So
yeah,
this is like a life's work that you're doing. The same way what he was doing was a life's work. You're doing a life's work. This is a artful preservation process. The way that you guys are doing it with creating, like Apple was saying, just the beautiful inserts and, like you said, the compilation and all of that. Like, you're artfully doing this in kind of like a rabbit, like egg, like hidden thing, and creating this amazing legacy, or extending the legacy that your dad left.
What is a city without its music?
The legacy of the New York Philharmonic is incredible.
Nearly 2 centuries of history. That's a lot of music and a lot of stories.
I was sitting on stage for the very first time thinking, I can't quite believe this is happening.
Join me, Jamie Bernstein, as we explore the history of the New York Philharmonic. It's the NY Phil Story Made in New York, a podcast about a city, its people, and their orchestra. Listen wherever you get podcasts.
Yeah, we really the liner notes are where we get to exercise our creativity, and contribute.
Yeah.
It is important to us to frame the music and to give you the context, both the background for the artist, so that you can appreciate each individual. I mean, for example, with Buckley, I mean, you're saying you hadn't heard of Buckley before. That's we love hearing that. It's like, I've never heard of this musician, but I trust you guys. And holy crap.
Yeah, it really was a holy crap moment.
Yeah. So, so we want to create the context for the music. And Hawk did an amazing job, in my opinion, on this one, and Pete. I mean, they I've got such a wonderful research crew in those guys, he really, if you read his Under the Headset notes, as far as exploring the lyrics, that gives you so much more appreciation when you're listening for what's going on. Because it's funny, we were talking to John Miller, the bass player, and we asked him some questions about the lyrics, and he said, I have to admit, I never really listened to the lyrics. My interaction with Tim was so purely melodic. It was about how he was, his voice as an instrument, not what he was saying. And so he was so dialed into that element of the artistry that was the whole world as far as his experience of the show. But there's so much going on lyrically, and the vamping and the improvisation, and Hawk did a great job of really delving into that, and I'm sure he'll share some insights if you want to talk about that.
Well, thank you for picking up on the attention that goes into the notes and the art. I mean, we're very old school in that regard. It kind of breaks our hearts to know that most of the music listening world these days doesn't buy physical copy, misses the liner notes. But, we make our peace with that at the end of the day. Whether you like the notes or not, or agree with some of our crazy opinions or insights, we view these as curated pieces that are not, I'm a big fan of a CD library, the same way I'm a big fan of hard copy book library. These are pieces of my personal history. These are things that have impacted my soul, to be able to go back to them continually as a resource, pull them out, hold them, read it, remember where I was or how I felt the first time I heard it, or how I understood a piece of writing for the first time when I read it. We're trying to create sort of exhibits as if in a museum that you will want to revisit, or that tell a particular story that, we hope hasn't been heard before in this way. And, let's face it, this is a well canvassed era in American musical history.
Yeah.
But we're now as far away from that era that Owsley, when he made these recordings, as for example, Alan Lomax was in the 60s when he had preserved his recordings in the 30s, 40s, and 50s. And, it's gathering that songbook and putting it back in its context. And Tim Buckley is a great example of, look, there's a devoted Tim Buckley fan base that is just as rabid as any Deadhead when it comes to, the details of his career and every nuance and every, improvisational verse or lyric. And they're clued into every note, just like we are with the Grateful Dead. But outside of the Buckley verse, for example, in the Deadhead universe, Buckley is not as well known. Starfinder and I were 5 years old when he died in 1975 at 28 years old. We only had his studio albums to go on until we were in college. In 1991, Dream Letter came out. And, this is all part of that sort of same gathering of the songbook, remembering our collective musical history. And, one of the sort of thesis or mission statement in a way for the foundation is, preserving Bear's legacy as a there are many things about Bear's legacy. There are many legacies to preserve for Bear because he did so many different things. But our laser focus in this organization is on preserving his legacy as it's manifested in his incredible tape collection. And what we're discovering, and I don't know if Tim Buckley is the best, he's certainly not the best example of this, but is how he's helping us to re-remember. How Owsley's tape collection is helping us to re-remember certain details from that era that we thought we knew really, really well, but there are things that we had forgotten. Things like, at the Grateful Dead Scholars Caucus in 2018, I played a fun game where I would play little guitar snippets. I'm like, who's this on guitar? And people saying, oh, that's Jerry. Oh, that's Yorma. Oh, that's I'm like, no, that's the great Mojo Collins from the band Initial Shock that Herb Cain said was the Rolls Royce of psychedelic bands in 1968. The Rolls Royce of psychedelic bands in 1968 in the San Francisco Chronicle. I'd never heard of Initial Shock before I saw their name on a tape. We've got, I want to do a whole series of radio shows just about bands like, Initial Shock, Sanpaku, all these other groups that shared a stage with the Grateful Dead, or were part of that scene. Happy Valley, are names that are not household names anymore, or weren't terribly well known outside of the Bay Area at that time. We've got all these tapes, and they all matter because they're a piece of that sort of swirling sonic landscape of that time and place.
Well, it's like living in a house your whole life and thinking that you know every room, and then you find out there's 16 more floors with rooms, and you know what I mean? Like, oh fuck, I never saw that staircase. Like, yeah, yeah. And they matter just as much as the rest of the house,
but
man.
But also, too, like, in a time where there's so much repeat of everything.
Yeah, man.
I mean, who doesn't want to sing a great rendition of a good song? But to be able to find new, old gems, that's unheard of right now. Everything's being repeated. And so that is a really neat thing that you're getting to uncover for the music fan, in general.
Yeah.
It's also, I don't know if I said this to you guys last time, but like getting ready to put the episode out the last time you guys were on, I got really emotional getting ready to put it out. Like, it really like dawned on me while I was editing the show that like this thing that has like completely shaped my whole life from the time I was 18 years old and walked into my first Grateful Dead show at the Forum until now, I'm in whatever some small way like giving back to that. And the immensity of the thing was re-impressed on me in putting your guys' episode out. And I just want you to know that, like, I get what you're doing, man. And it's super fucking important and very necessary. And like Mel said, there's so much repetition out there and people trying to sound like somebody else.
They created their own sound back when they did it. And it's great. Flattery by imitation is, a kind of a standard, but for the very few people who create something brand spanking new and it's the first time you hear it, it's a miracle to be around that.
And you guys are helping to
push that forward.
Like Buckley. That's a great example.
With the old stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the things about this Buckley album too, is that it's so thoroughly improvisational that if Bear hadn't recorded it, it would be completely gone. I mean, every single time that Buckley took the stage, he created a totally unique experience in a way that was beyond a lot of artists, other than the ones that we hew to. But we definitely feel like this moment in time that Bear captured, is a huge addition to what we understand about Buckley. And you were saying that you hadn't heard his music, but I bet you the first time you listened to that recording, you recognized it.
Yeah.
I mean, it felt familiar.
Yes.
There's something about it that it's like, I know this. I've never heard this, but I know that voice. I know that this feeling. It's in there. Yeah.
That's exactly it. It was a feeling. I was listening to it in my car because it's hard to come around a CD in a modern home anymore, So I'm sitting in the garage and it was in the evening and I have it on and I got emotional about it. It felt like somebody had put a cloak over me. It was, and I'd never heard it before either, but it felt familiar. It felt reminiscent of something that maybe I had forgotten.
It's got that flavor, that scent.
And it's, kind of like stepping into like a historical home. You've never been there, but when you see like the doilies, you're like, oh my God, my grandmother used to have those, or, something. It's so it kind of has that feeling that makes you remember old energy, old times, old stories. Yeah, it's really neat what you guys are capturing.
There's something very redolent of the era in his music, indeed.
Yeah.
But then on top of that, the sonics on that one, part of that warmth that we all experienced when we listened to it is because of the way Bear mic'd it. And the way that the bass was captured in particular, I think gives it an even deeper, more three-dimensional resonance.
Yeah.
It sounds like you're not just on the stage, but in between Tim and the bass player.
Yeah, very much so. That's what I was saying, like sitting like right at the lip of the middle of the stage.
Yeah.
Just go ahead, Apple. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say, because like, I always kind of jumped the same thing. Like we said, we had not heard of Tim, but I immediately thought, the name Jeff Buckley popped in, started doing a little research, find out Tim was was Jeff Buckley's father. There was another son. And I mean, what a gift this is for the Buckley estate, because they lost Jeff at 30 years old. And what a talent he was and everything. And then I'm looking, and it reminded me of Jeff. Listen to a little Jeff, look at his stuff. The anniversary of his passing is May 29th.
Oh, wow.
Coming up right around the corner. So several things, like hair standing up. I'm just like, whoa, man, this is heavy. This is a heavy recording that was caught. And then you guys are able to gift this to this family that had this, this amazing talents in their family and these early losses. It's like another piece they can hold. And that's special.
Yeah, that's dope. And
if any of your listeners are interested, there's a great book, Dream Brother, David Brown, Rolling Stone writer, wrote in the early 2000s. It was alternating chapters about the sort of intertwined life paths of Jeff and Tim Buckley. And each chapter alternates with a Tim historical piece, followed by a Jeff chapter, followed by a Tim chapter.
Oh, sure.
And it's really uncanny, some of the parallels in their lives. They didn't have a close relationship at all before Tim died. Of course, Jeff was very young at the time. But just such a tragedy. And talking to John Miller about it was really moving, because he obviously had a close relationship playing with Tim. But the profound sadness that he still carries with him. He only met Jeff a couple of times, and Jeff knew everything about him when they met. He's like, oh yeah, I know, you played with my dad, and you played on this album, and you played on that album. Wow. And John was just blown away that Jeff had known all these things about him and had studied his dad, because part of, in whether conscious or unconscious, I think Jeff was trying to move away from his father's legacy and build his own thing. But when John talked about the tragedy, the way he put it was that, I think this is in the liner notes, he said that's just too much to bear, frankly, when you think about those lives and the talent that was lost so young.
Yeah. Something that came to mind when you're talking about creating the liner notes and the snapshot story behind each of these releases, something that I've experienced from doing this show is the musicians that I have looked up to my whole life or have just found out about that I'm really into. I love the music. And then when we have them on the show and get to talk to them and get to know the person a little bit, then go to the show after that, it's a completely separate, different experience. It's on a whole new level of deep after you get to know the person and the perspective of the human being that's creating the art, right? And I really feel like that's what the liner notes do, is they give you insight into the art that you're experiencing from a completely different perspective than just experiencing it all by itself. You get to know some of the story, history, what happened that night maybe, or, whatever. And then you're hearing it with different, deeper ears. And that's why the liner notes and the art and like the physicality of the medium is so important. Sure, we can all just fucking download songs off the internet. Great. That's awesome. But that's not going to give me the same experience as like holding it in my hands and like reading and learning about it and getting to know it on a personal level. It's just not.
Ritual and magic.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's like, heating something up in the microwave or cooking a gourmet dinner, sourcing your products and getting fresh foods and, making the dough rise instead of just buying something. It really is a craft, and it feels and sounds and tastes like that, what you guys are doing. Yes, exactly.
Good food. Owsley's good food.
And when that CD liner notes are sitting on your table there, it makes you go, oh yeah, I should listen to that.
Yeah. It's not just gone.
One of thousands of digital files on your computer that unless you have something on random that it pops up, it's not going to come to mind. But if it's sitting there on your desk, you're like, oh yeah, I got the Dawn of the New Riders of the Purple Sage box set there. I'm gonna.
Hell yeah.
Very true.
So guys, before we take off, can you give a short breakdown on how listeners can get involved with the foundation, how they can sponsor reels, what they need to do and go, where they go and all that stuff?
Sure. Well, we have our website, owsleystanleyfoundation.org. That's OWSLEY Stanley, STANLEY Foundation.org. That has all of our various sonic journals on it. We're a 501c3, federally recognized nonprofit organization. We're 100% volunteer run, which is one of the other reasons why it takes so damn long.
That's incredible right there. The whole
we've all got jobs and families and other things pulling our attention. But you can find out information about the foundation and our releases. And if you want to donate, there's a link there. Also, our Facebook page has a lot of dynamic content. I know there's a lot of mixed opinions on Facebook. We share them, but it is a platform that allows us to get dynamic content up easily, and have an interactive forum for our fans. And so we utilize it for that. So you can get a lot of kind of more day by day or week by week, month by month, depends on the
time by time.
But that sort of dynamic content, what reels we've preserved recently, and that sort of stuff all goes up on the Facebook page for people to check out. So you can certainly find us there.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, if you guys listening aren't familiar, go drop what you're doing and go.
If you want a quality meal.
Yeah.
Stop what you're doing.
Yeah.
Go to Owsley Stanley Foundation.org.com and check it out.
And yeah, we've got 7 sonic journals out now.
Wow.
It seems like we've been at this forever and just for a minute. But there's the stack is starting to get taller.
Well,
it's almost a thing now. Almost a.
No, it's been a thing. It's not almost. It's been a thing. I just want to reiterate, and I want you guys to know that, at least for the 3 of us, it's a huge honor to help get the word out about this for us.
Absolutely.
It's a big deal for me, man.
It feels good.
And
big deal for you guys to want to talk to us and have us involved.
Yeah, I appreciate.
I really appreciate being here with you guys because I didn't get to see your faces or feel the energy, and I really. Yeah. I get jealous when I can't be here for them, but I'm really glad to see the faces that are recreating this incredible legacy and keeping it going and paying it forward through the volunteering. My gosh, when I heard that in the first episode, my mind was blown even more, that these lengthy processes are being done by people who are not 100% financially dedicated to it and have other things going on, and it's an even bigger feat that you guys are doing. So thank you for letting us spread the word, and whenever you guys need to come back, we are always we're always here.
When the one at the top of the list gets ready to come out, you better fucking believe.
And that's what we love, the surprises. I can't wait. I want to know now. Damn.
That Cracker Jack box.
That's it. I look so forward to the surprises to come this year, and like you said, 2022. You guys are going to start doing more.
Did we say when the next one's coming out?
Next one in September.
September. Okay.
About
Right
1
on.
month from tomorrow, we will announce.
Right on. So we got some Christmas presents coming up.
Yeah.
And we love being on with you guys. We get to talk to a lot of people, but what we really love about you is the genuineness shows through. When I listened to your introduction that you had to the show, because there was the first half of the show that you did, the love as you guys were speaking about what we were doing gave me goosebumps, and I'm really grateful for that. It's
Right on.
lovely to talk to kindred spirits.
Yes, it is.
Get us, get us this crazy mission and idiosyncrasies and general weirdness and mayhem. But
We get it.
Right on. I'm glad you felt
thank
the
you.
love, because
Thank you for that.
it is genuine and it's true. You guys are you're amazing.
And it looks like, let's just put it out there, we may get to high five and give each other a hug at a show sometime soon.
That would be awesome.
Right on.
All right,
Can't wait.
let me know when you're ready to come back on, and we'll do it again.
Absolutely.
All right.
Definitely.
Starfinder, you take care. Hawk, take care.
Yep.
We love you guys.
Bye, you two.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks so
Yeah.
much.
Take care, brothers.
You will.
Record.
Dope human beings.
Oh, that was a nice treat.
I forgot too.
Yeah, no, I didn't get to see their faces. I didn't get to feel the energy. I mean, definitely listening back to the show when we put it out, that was really awesome. But it adds another element to it.
Yeah.
That's a dope brotherhood, right?
Oh yeah, and his Hawk's face, both of their faces look so familiar, and I love maybe he didn't. So maybe Starfinder didn't mean to, but half of his face was lit.
He was lit
and
half.
that just, I don't know, it was pretty
That's
dope.
funny. I noticed the same thing.
I was like, that's very artistic.
Kind of like his dad, things happen. Because I remember the last interview, it was awesome. Hawk was, because he showed up a little late again, just this time. And it seems to be his fashion. And he's like, oh, you're recording this video? And last time he
Mad scientist, man.
But
It's all
hey,
dope.
But-
chopping wood, hanging out with his kids, and came in with wood chips on him.
But dude's a doctor.
Yeah.
Straight up genius level.
Appearances mean very
Never
little.
judge a book by its
very,
cover.
very little. It's the energy involved.
Especially in the Grateful Dead family, you cannot judge a book by its cover. You never know. And, man, it's just like I said to those guys, it's a big deal to in any way be involved with the name Owsley. It's just a big fucking deal.
Also, just the high quality of what they're doing, the fact that we get to present that to our listeners, that means something on our end too. The fact that they're reaching back out to us, they're presenting this incredible masterpiece and pieces that they've done, and we get to present that to our guests. I'm proud of that. I am super proud to be a part of that loop.
Yeah, I'm super proud of that too. It's an honor, like I said earlier, to be involved in any way with the Owsley Stanley Foundation, the wider Grateful Dead family, and to, have this platform to help spread the word and do the thing, get the word out there about this amazing music that's being put out. And yeah, man. Hey guys, thanks for hanging out with us. I hope you enjoyed it. And guess what? We'll be back next week with more stuff and things for you. Take care of each other. Smile at a stranger. Hydrate. Safety third. Wash your fucking hands, man. Later. We love you. Peace.
But it's a burden. Family needs has been deferred, and hella means been the earth, and alchemy can bring the birth, the melody of a newborn. So persistent, so resistant, so insistent, so commitment, so resilient, or haven't you learned it? No simple road. 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 it as I focus through the spot in the corner that is still intact. The react is both a defense mechanism as well as a fear. We've traveled this road before, so we may think, but it's a tad bit of strange similarities that feed an A = A complex. The fears of your past do not equal the perplexities of the current road.
Hey listeners, I want to tell you about the April-May 2023 issue of Relics magazine. Features a Dave Matthews Band cover story with additional articles and interviews with The National, Graham Nash, Wayne Shorter, ALO, Ivan Neville, our friend Eric Krasno and Stanton Moore, Marty Stewart, and much more. Check out the latest version of Relics and subscribe now at relics.com/DMB. Thanks, Relics.
Yes, hello out there, everyone. I'm Hal Schwartz.
And I'm Flynn McLean. Together we host None But the Brave, a podcast dedicated to the music and career of Bruce Springsteen.
Bruce and E Street Band are on tour right now for the first time in 6 years, and we're taking a detailed look at what's happening on stage in our bi-weekly episodes.
We've also been recently joined by some very exciting guests, including rock journalist Warren Zanes and Stephen Hayden, Backstreet's magazine founder Charles Cross, and Barstool's Kirk Minahan.
If you're a diehard Springsteen fan, this is the show for you.
So please subscribe to None But the Brave on your favorite podcasting platform, and we hope to see you further on up the road.
Thank you so much. We'll be seeing you.